Quarterback Jon Kitna was the engine that drove the ball down the field, holding class with NFL offenses. He played on 4 different teams until the age of 39, as both a starter and backup.
And I came in just trying to make it a year, make it 1 week to the next, and it turned into 16 years.
A 16-year education in a broader field of life, arming him with skills to note tendencies and solutions that would prepare him for his next career in the classroom.
There's so many people with so much pain that just cover it up. That's why 80% of guys in the NFL, 1 year after they retire, are divorced, bankrupt, or hooked on drugs, or a combination of the 3. What I saw was a lot of men, at a young age, maybe didn't learn character and integrity and what it means to be real.
Being real and demonstrating faith chiseled Jon's reputation. He retired as a Dallas Cowboy in 2012. Timing and his math education degree brought him back home to Tacoma, Washington. Jon was hired at Lincoln High, the same school where he graduated and played quarterback.
Teaching was my avenue to have an impact on young men and women. That's always what my wife and I dreamed about, what it would be like to teach and coach in the same high school and the impact that we could have.
Like a hurry-up offense, the Kitnas were all in. Jon teaches algebra and coaches football. Jen volunteers administrative support for the football students. Their family of 6 is embedded in the school. Together, the Kitnas are a rarity within the Lincoln High community, reflecting hope for a loving marriage and promising future.
80% of our students have no father at home, and 75% of them are at or below the poverty line. A student that says, in full tears, in front of 80 other players and 15 other coaches, every day I have to choose, am I eating or was my mom eating? That's hard to hear. Or to hear another kid say, Coach, I hear you about the homework and stuff, but when I go home, my mom and dad are telling me, shut your books and go out on the streets and sell drugs and get us some money.
Jon wanted to do more than teach and coach. He wanted to strengthen the stride for an uphill climb.
He kept saying, I want to teach math and I want your toughest kids. And that's exactly what we gave him.
The kids that, maybe had fallen behind first semester, and so there was some hard kids in that one, hard. And R.E.A.L Miller was one of those.
First day he got here, he was just like, man, I'm not gonna let you, fall, and took me under his wing, and it just went on from there.
R.E.A.L's grades have improved, along with his determination and outlook.
How are you different, man? Can you see the difference?
Oh, yeah.
And how?
First, I'm just not out in the streets doing what I want. I'm like, I try to see myself doing what Coach Kitna did to me, changing me, trying to do it to others.
The senior running back now takes a lead among his teammates, translating tough love during practice for players who turn their back on Coach Kitna.
I was getting after this safety, getting after him. And, he's pulling back, and here's R.E.A.L Miller from 20 yards away. You need to turn around and look at him, because he's doing it because he loves you. He's doing it because he loves you.
At Lincoln, football is a reward, not a right. Textbooks trump playbooks, and falling grades bench players. Jon coaches from the front of the class as a teacher, but as a coach, he teaches from the heart, using football as a tool to instruct, earning a player's ear and a place in their lives.
Hearing them and having them cry on your shoulder, it bonds you. I love these kids. I love them. And I always tell them to never, ever, ever mistake my passion.
Quit living beneath your standard
for a lack of love.
It's become the toughest pass attempt of Jon Kitna's career, a daily daring throw that cuts through the silent opponent of lifelong neglect and need.
Every single day that I walk into that school building, there's an enemy that I can't see. There's an enemy out there, there's a defense out there that we can't see. And it's a spiritual battle. It's happening for the lives of everybody, but certainly these young men and women that we're trying to influence.
A spiritual battle that requires rolling up the sleeves and closing the margin between his life and theirs.
Coach Kitna's meant a lot to me. My father actually passed away about a year and a half ago, so it was really hard for me. And then he came in and kind of filled that void that I needed as a role model, a man role model in my life. And without him, I honestly don't think I would be going to college.
To go in and live the gospel, to educate, to give food to put an arm around, to love on people that are hurting. Do what the gospel says, to do what Jesus said. Take care of the widows and kids that don't have dads. Try to understand their situation and empathize with that and get into their world.
What's the greatest practical need that these kids have?
Food. Food. I'm asking you to commit 8 weeks of your summer to come in and work out and lift weights. And when we lift weights, the walls are sweating. And this kid almost passes out in the class. What happened? Coach, I ain't ate since yesterday.
For the young men he coaches, Jon's dedication goes beyond a meal. He empowers them with a feast of principles to sustain them for life. Real Men is the foundational charge for the football program, and the standard is carrying over to the student body.
A real man rejects passivity, empathizes with others, accepts responsibility, and leads courageously. And a real man can only be a real man if he surrounds himself by other real men. Because if not, at some point he will compromise in and of himself.
When he talks about his real young men and the philosophy he's bringing to the football program, he lives that on a daily basis. He is who he is, and who he is pretty spectacular. He lives his talk more so than anybody I've ever met.
Do the right thing. Be real. Be real, okay? You guys are out of here.
Just 1 year in, and the impact feels like an underdog's win. Stunning and contagious. Jon's class earned the second highest algebra score of any class at the end of the school year. From the football field to the Lincoln High hallways, difference makers are emerging.
I'm a firm believer that the work we do here at Lincoln High School is going to determine the fate of the city of Tacoma.
And I'm trying to change it. I just want to change the world.
To impact community, nation, country, world, it starts with one life that's committed to doing the right thing. Hopefully that means that person's committed to loving Christ.
That begins with math's most basic number, 1. One who's willingly available.
Put him in the huddle. Give him a charge.
Start serving. Start serving. You want an inroad with people? Start serving. It's what Jesus did. He washed his disciples' feet and said, now go do the same thing.
We would love that.
How many of us are washing feet? We're sitting in the church. We're like a football team that huddles up and never runs a play. We never run a play. Run a play. Do something. There's millions of opportunities to serve where you get no credit for it. Nobody's paying you. You want to deepen your relationship with Christ? Start serving. You want to make a difference in somebody else's life? Start serving. And then once you do that, you get to start seeing God at work because God's serving.